Evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call this meeting of the West Valley Water District Board of Directors to order. It is 6 p.m. on December 19th, and we will start with the roll call of board members.
Thank you. Director Bennett,
Present.
Director Moore,
Present.
Director Garcia is absent, Vice President Jenkins,
Present.
President Young.
Present.
4 of 5 are present. We have a quorum.
Okay. All right. We will start next with the Pledge of Allegiance. Vice President Jenkins, will you lead us, please?
Yes, I'd be honored. Right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and for our opening invocation, we have Pastor Tracy Crawford Jr. To lead us in the opening invocation. Pastor Crawford, if you're there, you can unmute yourself at this time, please.
I don't see anybody's here.
Do we know if he's on or no?
No, I don't think he's on. He did confirm, but something must have happened.
Okay. All right. Well, if you'll join with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you that we can come together and do your business here. Please bless these proceedings and all the staff who are here and everyone in the district. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Okay. All right. So we will now proceed to the public participation for closed session items.
Thank you. Members of the public may participate and give public comment in one of 4 ways: in person at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone by calling 888-475-4499, access code 840-293-7790, via Zoom with access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wvwd.org.
You don't have anyone. All right. Do we have any requests for public comment on
You
closed
know what,
session
it does
items?
appear that we have possibly the pastor on the line that maybe might have logged in late. Pastor, are you there? I think it's Pastor Townsend. Pastor?
Hello?
Hello, hi.
Hi.
Are you giving the invocation?
Well, Pastor Tracy was, but I surely can right now.
You know what? Yes, if you don't mind. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Not at all. Not at all. Let us pray.
Can't pray enough. Double.
Father in heaven, thank you so much for this day. Thank you all, Father, for all that you've done with us, in us, and through us. And right now, Father, we just ask that you be with us during this session, during this meeting with the West Valley Water District. Father, be with each and every person that is serving on this committee, on this board as directors. Father, be with all of those that are connected with West Valley Water District. Give them just a beautiful life, Father. Give them just all of the things that they need to complete the things that we need to do, Father, in your community, in this community that you have given us to serve in, Father. Thank you for the blessings of life. Thank you for just us being able to come together, Father, during this season. We ask that we continue to remember who you are and that all that we do might benefit your kingdom, and it may just enhance all that we would have to do through West Valley Water District. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I do see Pastor
Crawford.
Tracy Crawford. If it is, yeah. We
Do
might.
we need 3 pairs?
As much prayer as we
All right,
can.
I think we're good. Yeah, thank you. Oh, yeah, well, thank you so much, Pastor. All right, so, yeah. All right, so now to the closed session items. So have we received any requests for public participation on closed session items?
No requests have been received in person, or I'm not sure online.
Okay, if anyone online would like to address the body regarding any of the items on the closed session, please unmute yourself at this time or raise your hand icon. Okay, seeing none, we will go ahead and adjourn into closed session. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We are back. We'll have the report out from closed session.
Yes, Mr. President, the board met in closed session on items 1 and 2, and there was no reportable action on either.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so next up we have the adoption of the agenda. We do have one change recommended by staff. Staff would like to pull business items, item number 2, the legislative principles, to be brought back at a future meeting. The committee wants to look at it a little more. So, if there's no other changes requested by staff or anyone, I'll entertain a motion to adopt it as amended.
I motion that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? Okay.
Thank you. Director Moore?
Yes.
Director Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
President Young?
Yes.
And that passes 4-0. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Next up brings the public participation. Go ahead.
Thank you. Members of the public may participate and give public comment in one of 4 ways: in person at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone by calling 888-475-4499 with access code 840-293-7790, via Zoom with access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wbwd.org. We received nothing via email or in person. I don't know about online.
Okay, is there anyone in person or on Zoom who would like to address a matter listed or not listed on the agenda? If so, please raise your hand and unmute yourself. Okay, seeing no one, going once, going twice, third time's the, no. Go ahead and close public participation. All right, we have no presentations for this evening. So that will take us to the consent calendar. So board, we have 7 items on the consent calendar for this evening. If anyone likes to have any of those pulled for separate consideration, or otherwise I'll entertain a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
I motion that we adopt the consent calendar as presented.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? Okay, seeing no discussion, we'll go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you. Director Moore?
Yes.
Director Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
President Young?
Yes.
That passes 4-0-1. Thank you.
All right, so next up we have business items. So we have business matter number 1. Coral.
Good evening, President Young, Board of Directors, and members of the public. West Valley Water District is committed to reinforcing communications with our customers on the value of water. As we prepare for future communication with our customers on the need for a rate adjustment, the district has identified a specialized support that will be needed to communicate the why and to measure public perception of the district. The Public Outreach and Government Affairs team released a request for proposals, RFP, in late October on Planet Bids to develop a list of qualified respondents to provide public outreach and communication support services for Prop 218. Staff received proposals and interviewed 4 firms with an internal panel that included the following departments: the Public Outreach and Government Affairs, Finance, and Executive Team. JPW Communications was the highest scoring firm among all panelists and identified as the most experienced with the capacity to assist West Valley Water District during the crucial communications period with our community. I would like to welcome Leslie Spring and Suzanne Bankhead from JPW for tonight's presentation on the services they will be providing for the district.
Welcome, ladies.
Good evening, board. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
got to be a little close to it.
Gotta
to
gotta
pick up.
hug it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. On behalf of JPW, we're so thrilled to be here with you this evening. We're excited to be able to share with you a little bit about our firm and how we might be able to help you as a potential partner for your outreach process for 218. And this is a quick peek at what we hope to share with you tonight. We want to cover introductions, which I'll get to shortly, talk about our team roles and responsibilities, our approach to work, and share a couple of case studies that we're very proud of, very similar processes about with what you're prepared to go through, and then leave some time at the end for your questions and our closing remarks. So with that, I'll get with our introductions. I'm Suzanne Bankhead. I'm a senior vice president and partner with the firm. I've been there for almost 6 years, and before that I worked with a city in North San Diego County as their PIO. And so at JPW, I oversee all of our public engagement and outreach projects. And so 218 processes like this are very close and near and dear to my heart. I love outreach and engagement. And really doing that in a meaningful way is what's important, as Socorro has mentioned. And that's really the origin story of JPW, is doing work that is meaningful. We were founded by Jenny Wendell, our founder, in 2015 around a premise that she spent a lot of years on your side of the table as a public servant herself for 18 years. And what she saw in the marketplace is that there was a lot of firms that were doing this work, but they didn't understand that that role you play in the community, and really saw an opportunity to be able to form a firm that would be able to provide that meaningful partner to you that you need in times like these. And tonight I'm joined by Leslie Spring. She's our Senior Director of Marketing, who's been with us for close to 7 years now, I think. So she's worked with a lot of our water agency clients. So again, a perfect fit for this particular engagement. So to underscore what I just shared about JPW, we have our tagline here. We're a team that's created from government for government. We're all public servants in one way or another in our past lives. And we're all committed to making sure that government agencies like yours get the very best level of service, and that you get meaningful strategy and exceptional creative work from us. We recognize, because we've been in your shoes, that this work is not hard. It's not easy, rather. It's very difficult at times to get people to care about your work and the value of your service, especially as a water agency. And so we feel like there's a unique opportunity that presents itself with a water rate adjustment like this, where we do have a chance to decipher some of this technical information for folks, bring them along and explain why this rate adjustment is needed. And we've been able to do, both of those things very successfully, where we're able to engage people successfully, really demonstrate the power and value of your work. And we know that our team at JPW has both the experience and the passion to do that for you. And to underscore that point, we wanted to share a brief video that was actually produced by our in-house team at JPW that does show some of our recent work and a couple of these 218s we've worked on.
Our team for this project is designed to scale based on your needs, and everyone you see circled has been identified as the curated team for this specific engagement. Molly and Kit are our designers, and they will handle, And they'll handle all multimedia design, including video, photography, and all graphics as needed. Courtney Pittum would be your primary contact supporting you day to day, with support from Lauren and Maddie for deliverable execution. And then Jenny, Suzanne, and I would provide strategic guidance to ensure that the project stays on track, on budget, and on message. And additionally, we do like to always mention that we have an in-house controller who manages our budgets in real time to ensure transparency across the board. And our goal is always to be a trusted partner for you, making your life easier, which I know is especially important during a Prop 218 process. And then before we get into our approach, we wanted to share some of our initial understandings from the task of the task at hand based on your RFP. As well as some very preliminary goals that we've identified. Communicating rate adjustments is a uniquely challenging situation, and given that customers just really don't understand the ins and outs or the technical aspects of delivery, and transparency and trust are essential. For this campaign, we recommend the goals that you see listed here, the first of which is to build trust through proactive communication. The second is to educate customers about the proposed rates, why the adjustment is needed, and the steps involved and how they can get involved as well. And then thirdly, we will position West Valley as the most credible source of information by sharing clear, accessible details through a diverse set of channels. And then to achieve this, we would identify target audiences, and then we would develop content that would be tailored to each of those target audiences. We would, of course, address barriers to understanding through tailored outreach, and then we would simplify the technical details with engaging visuals. So we note this in our formal response, but our process is rooted in the Public Relations Society of America's RPI process, which stands for Research, Planning, Implementation, and Evaluation. We strongly believe in the power of research, and we lean into data as much as possible. And our recommendations for this engagement for the research phase include a kickoff meeting with your team, stakeholder mapping to make sure that we know who we need to reach and the best way to do it, as well as an audit of any existing materials. And during that planning phase, that's when we would create the strategy that would guide all of our research efforts for the Prop 218 process. And we'd also anticipate developing a creative concept for you all that would really serve as the umbrella for all messages, outreach, different pieces of collateral, so they all are designed to work together and be cohesive. And then that implementation phase is when everything really comes to life. We recommend segmenting outreach into 2 phases, pre-rate and then post-rate adoption. And we'd focus on 3 key milestones: the community meetings, the water rate workshop, and then post-adoption recaps of decisions and the new rates. To evaluate our work, and this is Suzanne's probably most favorite part of the process, would be tracking public inquiries and sentiment tracking. And by that, I mean, if we get an email of somebody just looking for information, we would log that as neutral. If somebody has expressing frustration or complaint or something like that, we would log that as negative. And then if somebody thanks us, which has been known to happen, about sharing valuable information, then we would log that as positive. And so we have a database, we have that dialed in to be able to track that for you all. We would also monitor stakeholder feedback, participation and attendance at community events, as well as campaign performance, things like email open rates, social media engagement, and things like that. And then, of course, board adoption of the water rates would be the most important outcome that we would be tracking. But instead of waxing poetic about that a little bit longer, I was just going to dive into our first case study, which is on the city of Tustin, which is a mid-sized city in Orange County and a longtime partner of JPW. And they needed to increase water rates to be able to keep pace with changing state water standards and increasing costs of services. And while, of course, the rate adjustment was critical, they needed to proactively address customers' questions about why the increase was needed, as well as resolve concerns about the specific needs of the Tustin community, specifically members of their community who lived on fixed incomes. And so in order to do that, we developed a comprehensive outreach strategy for the rate adjustment process to foster trust and goodwill by transparently communicating the rate adjustment process. We created infographics, and all materials were designed to be distributed in both English and Spanish, and we're proud to say that the work paid off. At the hearing in December of 2023, the council unanimously voted to approve the new rates, and their customer base is 14,000 customers, and they received a total of 23 written protests in that process. And we're really proud that we were able to help them with that success. And then I'll turn it over to Suzanne for the other two case studies.
Thank you. We're going to talk a little bit about the next case study from Sacramento Area Sewer District. They're one of California's largest sewer districts, and they faced a challenge of similar to yours, I believe, where they had some rising infrastructure costs and energy costs that they had to face head on. They're balancing, the need to keep the rates down for certain customers, and they have about 1.6 million customers that they're serving. And they had another challenge of explaining these complexities of sewer delivery, and they also were going through a name change themselves, changing from like a utility district name down to this SAC sewer for short is what they were trying to communicate at the same time as going through a rate adjustment. So no easy feat to get poke through all the noise and really engage and connect with people. But our strategy on this one was really to try and engage people through visuals. You'll hear a theme of that throughout everything that we work on, is just trying to distill that difficult information in a visual way and decipher that code we sometimes speak in government agencies. And so one of the other pieces of this was a multilingual approach. Like, we had to translate materials in two of their primary languages in the service area, Spanish and Russian, which was another challenge when you're dealing with visuals, and we really had to work hard to make sure we were able to keep all those great visuals and still do that in a way that was approachable to those particular groups in the community. So this is a huge success, similar to Tustin. That thoughtful design approach really helped us achieve a successful outcome. At the public hearing, our written protests from the community were minimal, and we saw enrollment in our financial assistance program actually go up. And in fact, for that time period of the 218, we had that page on the website was the highest, most highly visited page on the website, and that really was important to their board and commission, just to make sure that people knew how to access some of those programs if they needed it with this rate adjustment. And then lastly, we'll round out the case studies with one from Western Water. This has been a longtime partner of ours as well. We have worked with them for the last 9 years as a strategic partner. And this all started, this partnership with us started with a customer service issue and a very contentious rate adjustment process several years back. So when another rate adjustment was recommended in 2021, Western really wanted to lean into those previous lessons learned with communications and make sure that they did it right. So we worked on a comprehensive strategy that really spoke to the value of services they provide, in addition to the specifics of the rate adjustment. No stone was left unturned on this one, where we did everything from designing the postcards to the community meetings. We were along for that ride the entire time. And just to give you one brief example of how detailed and comprehensive this effort was, we created 22 unique versions of their Prop 218 notice to make sure it was customized to their different customer types. That was a priority. They had many. It was very confusing. So we really wanted to make sure that was tailored to those audiences. And so that was all customized for both English and Spanish-speaking audiences as well. So a huge lift, but that did pay off. And during the public comment of the board, we felt like this was a great proof point, where one of the customers said that if someone says they did not know about this rate adjustment or what it means for their bill, that they're lying. So we did have to smile a little bit, because that meant that that public comment meant we did our job as outreach professionals. We made sure there were no surprises, and we were able to advance that bigger message about why that rate adjustment was needed. And then just for additional metrics, when you compare 2017 and 2021 rate hearings, Western went from nearly 1,000 protests received and a boardroom full of angry customers shouting some obscenities to the board. They went from that metric to only 7 protests during the 2021 rate adjustment process. So a staggering 99% reduction in those negative touch points, and a huge win for our team as a partner to them. And so just lastly, as we wrap up, I want to touch on our key differentiators at JPW. We feel like these things set us apart from our competition. So first, we know that in your world, you're looking for a partner that understands principles of public engagement and participation. I definitely am proud of that, as I shared in my opening, that I'm really proud of that element of our team. And we are trained in IAP2 principles, which is International Association of Public Participation. And then secondly, we mentioned before, we're a team from government for government. We understand your world. We specialize in water agencies as well, have been through a few of these processes, and we bring that to bear for you. And then third, we are experts at creating clarity around exceptional design. I mentioned those visuals, those illustrations. Again, that is key to storytelling and helping people understand the why. And then lastly, we've become experts at overcoming barriers to reach harder to reach audiences. Despite, whether it's in a community that's small or big, we've been able to work locally to be able to overcome those barriers and engage folks where they're at. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Leslie.
And before I walk us through the budget slides, I forgot to mention, and she would never say it herself, that Suzanne is one of only 3 internationally certified public participation professionals in the entire state of California. So when she talks about community engagement and public participation and engaging harder to reach audiences, she really means it, and that's really baked into everything that we do. And I cannot believe that I forgot to mention that when I was going over the team. Here is, we've broken down our budget into those categories, the RPI process that I mentioned earlier. So for research, that kickoff meeting, analyzing existing materials, creating that outreach record that I mentioned, that's estimated to be $4,500. Planning, which is that strategic plan, outlines all of your messaging, the creative concept, how we're going to talk about this, and how we're going to also bridge the gap to make folks understand the value of the services you provide, in addition to the ins and outs, the intricacies of the Prop 218 itself. Okay, and then implementation. So that is the graphic design work of the Prop 218 notices themselves, social media outreach, website content, bill stuffers, e-blasts, things like that, as well as any media relations and project management that is needed to make sure that this is a success for you all. And then the evaluation would be setting up an email that we would monitor so that if somebody has a question, we would be able to log that in our system so that we're able to keep an accurate record of sentiment, like I mentioned earlier, and then we would coordinate with your team to make sure that we're getting a timely and accurate response back to those folks. And during that process, we usually create an FAQ list so that if it's a question we've heard before, we rinse and repeat. We don't have to bother you all. We can kind of be efficient to make sure that folks are getting timely answers to their questions. And then the last bit is survey support. We understand that there might be a need to get some baseline understanding about perception of the district in general, kind of outside of the Prop 218 process itself. So this is the estimate for that work, and it would include something before the campaign launches and afterwards, so that we'd be able to measure sentiment as it evolves throughout the Prop 218. And with that, we can open it up to questions.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Any questions, board?
Well, I guess I have a comment. First of all, Susan, Leslie, thank you for the presentation. I paid attention intently. I'm impressed what you brought to the table. So the fact that you provided 23 different hit pieces, you might call them, to the different agencies that you represent in the past. I think you have presented well, and I know the staff is super excited to have you on board, and I know how well the staff has worked extremely hard to present to us their best applicant, and that's your guys. So welcome aboard.
Anything else, gentlemen?
I have a question. Did West Valley use a system like this in the previous rate increase?
No.
I believe so. I think Greg has detailed information on that. But
Yeah, they didn't. I don't even know if they even had a consultant last time, but they did about the minimum required and very little more, which was why there was such a revolt the last time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone who was here back then who can speak to it better than I, but I don't recall there being a consultant on that one. No? Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, ladies. Really appreciate it. I definitely liked your example of the Western Water because that pretty much describes ours, especially with the history of the last increase and the revolt that happened from the community over that one, and that ultimately led to where we are today. And so certainly as a board member who was elected in the aftermath of that revolt, certainly I'm very interested in working with you to ensure that there is absolutely no one who doesn't understand why we are doing it now after 10 years of keeping rates flat. Because, yeah, I do not want anyone to claim that they didn't know this was coming, because we do not want to repeat those same mistakes as last time. So thank you so much for the presentation. It was very, very thorough. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we have the contract in front of us, board. So if there's no other questions for the consultants or for staff, entertain a motion on the contract.
Yeah, I motion that we sign a contract with JPW.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right. Any discussion on the item?
No.
All right. Go ahead and call.
Thank you. Director Moore?
Yes.
Director Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
President Young?
Yes.
That passes 4-0. Thank you.
All right. Look forward to working with you, ladies. Thank you so much. All right. So item 2 was pulled. So now we'll go to item 3, the short and long-term paid family leave policy. And I believe we have a report on this.
Yes. Good evening, President Young and members of the board. This item is before you because we have to establish a paid family leave policy. Paid family leave is a benefit that provides partial income to eligible workers, and it's part of the SDI program. We're transitioning out of the SDI program, proposing to transition out of the SDI program into a private short-term disability, and because of that, we would need to establish our own policy. This proposed policy will provide employees with a self-administered paid family leave, which mirrors the state programs. When considering a PFL program, staff evaluated and analyzed different funding structures and determined that a self-insurance program is best suited for the district based on usage and cost in comparison to the private insurance. The district's proposed program aligns with the state's PFL program. And lastly, PFL can be used in conjunction with the protected leaves such as FMLA, CFRA, and PDL. If approved, the program will go into effect on January 1st, 2025. The district must set aside $35,000 at all times in this fund in the event of a claim for benefits. We established this by doing a 5-year analysis, and in those 5 years, 3 staff members utilized this benefit, and the amount was on or around that $35,000 mark. The requested action is for the board to approve the self-insured paid family leave program, which again will become effective January 1st of 2025.
And that covers both 3 and 4 then, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Haiti, gentlemen?
I have a question, Haiti. Would this new program provide a dedicated person to our staff or adjuster?
Yes, so the program would be established through a private company, which is a standard, and they would provide a dedicated adjuster for that individual that needs the benefit for short-term disability. In this case, for paid family leave, it's a separate type of a benefit, so that's more specific to other areas, but it mirrors the state, and it will provide them with that same benefit that the state provides.
Not a little bit increased, or is
So
it equal?
it's an enhanced benefit, so
It is enhanced, okay.
the ceilings are a little higher.
Thank you.
And then has this been vetted through the union?
Yeah, so we presented it to the union a few months ago. our consultant actually made a presentation to the union representatives. They were impressed by the benefit enhancement and thought that it was beneficial to the membership.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think she answered my question that the union was aware and you guys discussed it with them, so that was my concern.
And if approved, can we always go back to the previous source if we wanted to? If
Yes.
the district didn't like
Yes.
what they were offered?
Yeah, so that's the beauty of this program. If it doesn't work because of whatever situations arise during the first year, the state always takes the agencies back if it didn't work out under the private program. So we could potentially go back if it doesn't work out January 1st of 2026.
Thank you.
And I know at the county, we use the standard, so it's always been pretty good for people that I've known who have to use it. All right, any other questions? All right, well, number 3 is the policy, so we're changing the policy to match the program then, or?
Yeah,
is
so
that-
you're transitioning into your private program for short-term disability, and then the policy has to be approved because the state provides paid family leave, which the short-term disability doesn't. So we have to have the two.
Correct. I just want to clarify because we have the policy up first
Yes.
before the program. So before us, we have the policy, which is to make the changes to support if we then adopt item number 4.
Correct.
So, Jeff, should we take those in reverse order then maybe?
No,
or-
I think you need to have, I
Or
think you
take
need to
them
have
to
a
both.
policy first before you
Okay.
implement it by
All right.
obtaining a plan.
Okay. All right. So we have the policy before us. I'll entertain a motion if.
I motion that we accept the new policy.
Okay. We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All right. Go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you, Director Moore.
Yes.
Director Bennett.
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins.
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 4-0. Thank you.
Okay, so then item 4 is the actual transition to the new program coverage. So any questions on that for Haiti? I know we were kind of doing them both in tandem, but just make sure.
Right,
Not,
so-
we'll-
I'm sorry. So just for the record, the recommended board action here is to discontinue participation in the California State Disability Program and replace the coverage with short-term and long-term disability coverage through the standard, effective January 1, 2025.
Okay. So if there's no questions, I'll entertain
I got a
that
question.
recommendation.
I got a question.
Okay,
Just want
go
to make
ahead.
sure, because I'm just
Yeah.
thinking this thing out as an employee, just to make sure. So when this is approved, when it goes out, I know you say you have with the union, how long will it take for it to get to the employees, the information to the employees?
So you mean if a person needs the benefit,
If they're aware of the benefit?
the employees?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will, once it's approved, it'll become part of our HR policy, and it'll be incorporated, and when the HR policy is approved, it'll be sent out to all staff.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay.
Any other questions? If not, we'll entertain that recommendation.
I motion that we make the change and accept the new company for benefits.
More or less what it says there, but okay. We have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. If there's no discussion, we'll go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you, Director Moore.
Yes.
Director Bennett.
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins.
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 4-0.
Okay, next up, we have the video surveillance camera policy.
Yes, this is another policy before you that staff has been working on. This policy details the rationale behind the surveillance system, it benefits and its benefits and the protocols for its operation. We ventured out to protect our buildings and assets, and we learned that we needed to have cameras strategically placed in different areas for safety and protection of not only staff but of our vehicles as well. So we have our IT department with other staff members that strategically placed these cameras. We then established a policy with the assistance of BBK to ensure that we met the legal obligations to protect the district from any potential legal challenges. Staff reviewed the existing security measures, consulted with security experts, analyzed incident reports, and examined the best practices. And before you tonight, we have this proposed policy. Implementing the video camera surveillance policy is critical for safeguarding the West Valley Water District assets and ensuring the secure environment for everyone. We did have an uptick in vandalism and just people in general trying to access the building. And in one case, there was one homeless individual that did access the general parking area for employees. So that is what prompted us to bring this forward to you to establish the video surveillance camera. So the recommendation is to approve the video surveillance camera policy and implement it into our HR policy.
Okay, any questions for Haiti? And I know that at the policy committee, we did discuss that, this is primarily focused on the exterior of the buildings, correct? Yeah. So, all right, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the video surveillance camera policy.
I motion that we
Rock, paper,
approve the,
scissors.
I know, right? I motion that we approve the video surveillance policy.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first, we have a second.
Let's keep
Any
this moving.
discussion? If not, go ahead.
Thank you, Director Moore.
Yes.
Director Bennett,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 4-0. Thank you.
All right, and now the things we've all been waiting for here. Items 6 and 7. We'll start with 6.
Okay, this is the long-awaited journey that finally comes to its end. Staff and the union have been diligently discussing the culmination of the class and comp study. The class and comp study established updated job classifications and a new market-based pay grade maximum for all 73 district positions. The union took this item to their membership on December 10th, and they took the vote to ratify the proposed tentative agreement. We were very pleasantly surprised to know that the membership did ratify the tentative agreement, and now a side letter is before you to adopt and approve the major amendments to the IOU agreement, which are as follows. The effective the first full pay period following January 1st of 2025, current employees as of the date of the agreement adoption shall receive a one-time salary adjustment that corresponds to the completion of the class and compensation study. And that's in Article 8 of their labor agreement, and that will go retroactively to July 1st of 2024. And just for their information, the district will be processing that retro in the first pay period of January, so staff will have that retroactivity payment on that date. The extension of a labor agreement was also agreed to, so we added 2 additional years. So now we have an MOU that carries the terms of that agreement to July 1st of June 30th of 2028. Each year subsequent to the current is 4% increase to the employee's base salary for a total of an additional 8% after the original MOU. The next item was that they agreed to a lead water system treatment operator classification. Currently, we have 5 lead water system treatment operator. We discussed with them that we only need 2, so we will have a formal competitive selection process to determine which 2 will have that lead position. The remaining 3 will be reclassified to a water treatment operator 3. And then the final piece is supervisory functions for lead classifications. Supervisory functions and duties will be incorporated into those classifications, and they will be trained and groomed and mentored to take on those responsibilities and become successful in those areas. The fiscal impact is approximately $628,193, and the requested action is to approve and adopt Resolution 2024-10, approving and adopting the Memorandum of Understanding between the West Valley Water District and IUOE Local 12.
All right. Thank you so much, Haiti. And before I open up for questions, I just want to thank you, John, Linda, Bill, all the managers, all the employees, everyone from the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 12, Mr. Yee on the line. This process, I know, took a lot longer than I think a lot of us had hoped it would. Certainly, COVID didn't help us, especially getting it started originally, and there was just, I think, a lot of factors that just kind of took it a little bit longer, but better to do it right and thoroughly than to try to rush it. But I'm really pleased and happy that we are here today, and I just really want to thank everyone who was involved in this at all levels. This has, I think, been a testament to all of your hard work and efforts to work collaboratively with the union and with the employees and with management to balance all the questions and everything that the class and comp brought back to us. And the only thing I wish we could have done is maybe gotten it a little bit closer to where you might have gotten a Christmas bonus, but maybe it'll help pay off your Christmas card bills after the new year. With that, I'll just open up for questions. Board, do you have any questions or further comments?
Just thank you guys for all the effort. Took a lot of work, a lot of time, but thank you guys for being thorough.
I'd like to acknowledge the staff on their patience, working with the team and your union representatives and this board. I'm thankful that I think you've been given a quality contract, and I hope everyone is happy with it. If not, we're going to try harder.
Yeah, if I may, just real briefly, this item was properly noticed on the agenda for action by the board. There are extra copies, hard copies of the staff report, the resolution, and the side letter for anybody in the audience or anybody in the public now or in the future if they wish to receive copies. And the recommendation should be to adopt the resolution 2024-10.
2024-10.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. All right. If there's no other questions, entertain the motion to approve and adopt the resolution.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the resolution.
Okay.
2024-10.
2024.
2024-10.
Okay. We have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. No further discussion. We'll go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you, Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Bennett,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 4-0.
All right. And the second piece to it, item 7.
Okay. This item is for your non-represented and at-will employees that also were part of the class and comp study. And I'll just read what the class and comp study included, which was your job classification review, your market compensation comparison, the internal equity analysis, provide implementation of considerations, and based on the findings of the class and comp study, staff recommends the following actions, which is the salary adjustments to those that need, positions that need them, and then ongoing monitoring of the positions so that we continue to stay in line with the market. So annually or every 2 years, HR will commit to reviewing and analyzing the salaries to make sure that we don't fall behind like we did in the past. Staff brings this item to the board to approve the new salary schedule in order to provide the non-represented and at-will employees, which include your general manager, your assistant general manager, chief financial officer, and the board secretary, with salary adjustments that are reflected in the study. The total cost of the recommended salary adjustments for the non-represented and at-will employees is estimated to be $348,709,000. The requested action is to approve and adopt resolution number 2024-11.
Okay, any questions? Nope. All right, if not, we'll entertain the motion to adopt and approve resolution 2024-11.
I motion that we adopt resolution 2024-11.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Bennett,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins.
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 4-0. Thank you.
All right. Well, we got that out of the way. All right. Next up, we have reports. First up, we have board committee reports. Do any board members have any committee reports this evening? I do have one for the policy committee.
Take it away.
So the policy committee met on December 12th, and we talked about the video surveillance camera policy that we just adopted a few minutes ago. That had been priorly reviewed by the HR committee, and that we were preparing to bring it for tonight's agenda.
I have a summary from the Finance Committee, and I also want to say I'm glad we closed out our year with accepting these last two resolutions. The committee received updates on the rules and regulations of engineering, currently in review of the rules and regulations. Additionally, a credit card convenience fee is being recommended to recover costs associated with this payment options. And the district rules and regulations will be brought forward to the Policy Committee and Board early next year, because of our long break. Additionally, the travel and expense reimbursement policy, staff will provide an overview of this policy, which is intended to outline allowable expenses when it comes to employee travel and expense reimbursement to ensure that we have the following best practices. This item was on tonight's agenda.
All right. Board member reports. Anybody have any general reports?
I attended Supervisor Armendariz' holiday toy drive. I received a contact back from him and scheduling a one-on-one personal meeting for the first of the year.
Since our last board meeting, I attended Mayor Baca's event, the swearing-in ceremony. I also attended the holiday retreat, I remember, and I also attended the Fontana Chamber Luncheon, the Christmas Parade, and I was last night at the swearing-in ceremony for Danielle Hawley. Congratulations on being named as the Vice President for the Fontana Unified School Board.
Anything from you, Kelvin? Or-
Yes, I attended Jesse Almendarez's toy drive event. Also, there was a chamber luncheon on the 12th. Went there, and the Fontana Christmas Parade on Saturday. Staff did a great job. Attended that. It was well attended, and what else? I also attended the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District board meeting on the 17th as well. I think that's it.
Okay. I'll just add that I joined Vice President Jenkins at the swearing in for our new mayor here in Rialto, Joe Baca Sr. And did want to just kind of wish everyone a happy and Merry Christmas as we kind of close out the year. I hope everyone enjoys time with their families and look forward to a lot of excitement in the upcoming year. We're going to have a very busy first half of the year, especially with the rate increase discussion with the community and, with our advocacy up in Sacramento and in DC, but I'm eternally grateful to staff and to my fellow board members and John and everybody here up on the dais. Look forward to continuing to work with you all in the new year, and I hope you all have a wonderful holidays with your family. So, all right, General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have updates on staffing and recruitments. Wanted to discuss the Board of Directors reports, and then we have a 2024 highlights video from the Public Affairs Government Affairs Department. So first of all, on recruitments, Chief Financial Officer, we reopened that recruitment for another 4 weeks. So that'll close on January 10th. For water conservation analyst, we've been talking about this quite a bit. Having trouble filling that position. There's a lot of demand and not a lot of experienced candidates out there. So given that, we continue to post for that position. We're also working on another job description with somewhat lesser reduced qualifications, and we would perhaps hire at a lower level and then train them up. There'd be some progression available in this series. So that's something that we're working on. We'll bring that to HR committee and the board early next year, as early as possible. And then senior engineer, this position posted November 26th. That closes on the 21st. We're actually seeing very good interest in this. I think already, 7+ qualified candidates already applied. So that's really great news. If you remember, a little over a year ago, we did a exact same recruitment for senior engineer, and we're having a very difficult time finding candidates. So that's something that's great to see, this high level of interest in working in this capacity for West Valley Water District. So that's great to see. And a couple more updates. GIS intern, this position posted December 4th. That's scheduled to close December 31st. Already a lot of applications in. And then for those 1,000-hour field assistants, we will soon have 2 openings for another 6 months, 1,000 hours each. That position posted December 11th. That closed on the 14th. We're reviewing 25 applications at this time, so good interest in that. Moving on to the Board of Directors reports, and you have the December report at your seat today. So these reports are currently provided on a monthly basis, and it's very important. Board summary information provides district-wide summaries of work completed for the prior month. If the board is agreeable, I'm recommending that we prepare these reports on a quarterly basis instead of a monthly basis. Few reasons. It does take quite a bit of time to prepare these, of course, but I think, there's often repetition from month to month, or not, sometimes a lot changing. So I actually think a quarterly snapshot will actually give you a better sense of that ongoing progress over the course of a year. So starting off in 2025, would the board like to see these compiled on a quarterly basis instead of a monthly basis?
I'm fine with that, John.
What does everybody think?
Probably save some trees and some hours, but and then have kind of a stronger compilation every 3 months.
Yep.
And perhaps
that works for me. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Save you all a little time.
Probably no complaints out here.
Quality over quantity, right?
There you go.
Yeah,
for sure. And finally, we have a video recap for 2024. We certainly had ambitious plans in 2024, and there are many achievements. I've included 11 of these in your monthly report. So maybe take a look at those, and let's take a look at the video. Great video, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a busy year. So that's really all for me. And I just wanted to thank the board again for your actions earlier tonight on the contracts and for undertaking the class comp study initially, and all in order to really build a stronger West Valley Water District, and then taking that comp study and acting to implement those adjustments right away, in fact, retroactively to last July, all to build a stronger district. So thank you for that. And
John, for your outstanding leadership.
Yes, thank you.
thank you. And looking forward to 2025. It's going to be busy.
Yeah.
And
It will definitely be a busy year. So we all need to rest up over the holidays because come January, y'all are going to keep us real busy.
rest up, hard charge, and Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Legal.
Just happy holidays to you and yours. I don't have any other legal update this evening.
That's all you got?
Well, I've got a video if you want. No.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, President Young. Just a brief update of a very busy couple months starting next year. We can go to the next slide. So just rounding out December, just so that you're aware, we're going to be closed due to the holiday closures, the 23rd through the 25th. We will be back on the 26th. As a reminder, engineering and operations was canceled for the 26th. We'll be again closed the 30th, 31st, and 1st, returning on the 2nd. Next slide, please. Okay, we've got the Safety and Tech, HR Committee and Policy Committee, the Finance Committee that's going to be on the 13th because of the MLK holiday. We've changed it to the 13th. I did want to mention that it's normally scheduled the third Monday of the month, which is also the same schedule as ASB CSD, which most board members really like to attend. So the question now is, and I've run this by the other committee member, Director Garcia, if she would be willing to change it to the 13th. Now the question then would be for Bill, if we were to change that to the second Monday of the month, would the report still be ready by then, or do you need that time?
It's going to be tough, but let's try to see if we can make it.
Yeah, I just think scheduling wise, and we've got some closures also that are happening on those Mondays.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, possibly that recommendation might work.
Well, I mean, if not, I'm sure that Director Jenkins and Director Garcia can put their heads together with you to figure out maybe another date if that's not enough time for
Yeah, we can adapt.
for the staff.
And
But
I
we
want to
can-
make sure we have enough time for Bill and his team.
The one item that Gustavo just reminded me of is that we have our mid-year budget that we're going to be putting out. So typically we start with the Finance Committee on that, and in all likelihood we won't have it ready until maybe a little bit later in the month.
So maybe a special meeting.
It might be necessary to have a separate meeting on that, yes.
Okay, so we would still have the meeting on the 13th and a special meeting for budget item only?
I think that would be a wise thing to do, and then give us a little bit more time.
Sure.
And
Sure, for January. We'll
yeah.
discuss when we can put that together.
Yes.
I think that's just this 1 month where we'll have that necessity to do that, but we're going to try to move it up so that it would work for both committee members.
Okay, great. So we can change the standing schedule for the Finance Committee to the second Monday of the month?
Whatever works for the staff. I'll
Wonderful.
flex.
And
Yeah.
if 5 o'clock's okay for you, we can.
5 o'clock's fine.
Okay, and because that works also for Director Garcia.
Great.
Okay, I will change that standing meeting. Wonderful. Thank you. Also, just a reminder, we're closed for MLK on the 20th. We've got a Sacramento legislative trip that's planned for the 27th and 28th. Next slide, please. And then in February, we do have Aqua DC, which you are all registered for, and hotels are already reserved for you. We do have, again, the Finance Committee that will be moved to the second Monday that was originally scheduled for the 17th, when we'll be closed for President's Day. Aside from that, that's all I've got. Thank you so much. We've got a busy January and February planned.
Yeah, so just on the February 20th meeting, I'll be in Nashville at a conference for work. Since I do work for a county agency, I don't know if that falls under one of the normal provisions, if I could tell from that, or
Well, you could use the normal provisions.
the normal provision.
Posting your
Yeah.
location.
Okay. We'll take a look at that, Elvia. Maybe I can still join, but you may have to run most of the meeting just because I'll be, at best, virtual
Sure.
for that meeting.
I'll make a note of that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. I will have a group of staff I have to try to keep control of. In Nashville, yes. Yeah. And I've done that before, actually. It's been a joy. All right.
Oh, before we close out, can I acknowledge that we were giving these new, beautiful-looking conservation starts kits, and I want to thank the department that put this together.
Yes. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a happy new year, and we will see you next year. Thank you. We are adjourned.